The clitoris, about this sound listen, or, about this sound listen, is a female sex organ present in mammals, ostriches, and a limited number of other animals. In humans, the visible button-like portion is near the front junction of the labia minora, inner lips, above the opening of the urethra. Unlike the penis, the male homologue, equivalent to the clitoris, it usually does not contain the distal portion, or opening, of the urethra and is therefore not used for urination. While few animals urinate through the clitoris, the spotted hyena, which has an especially well-developed clitoris, urinates, mates and gives birth via the organ. Some other mammals, such as lemurs and spider monkeys, also have a well-developed clitoris. The clitoris is the human female's most sensitive erogenous zone and generally the primary anatomical source of human female sexual pleasure. In humans and other mammals, it develops from an outgrowth in the embryo called the genital tubercle. Initially undifferentiated, the tubercle develops into either a penis or a clitoris, depending on the presence or absence of the protein TDF, which is codified by a single gene on the Y chromosome. The clitoris is a complex structure, and its size and sensitivity can vary. The glans, head, of the human clitoris is roughly the size and shape of a pea, and is estimated to have more than 8,000 sensory nerve endings. Extensive sociological, sexological, and medical debate have focused on the clitoris, primarily concerning anatomical accuracy, orgasmic factors, and their physiological explanation for the G-spot, and whether the clitoris is vestigial, an adaptation, or serves a reproductive function. Social perceptions of the clitoris range from the significance of its role in female sexual pleasure, assumptions about its true size and depth, and varying beliefs regarding genital modification such as clitoris enlargement, clitoris piercing and clitoridectomy. Genital modification may be for aesthetic, medical, or cultural reasons. Knowledge of the clitoris is significantly impacted by cultural perceptions of the organ. Studies suggest that knowledge of its existence and anatomy is scant in comparison with that of other sexual organs, and that more education about it could help alleviate social stigmas associated with the female body and female sexual pleasure, for example, that the clitoris and vulva in general are visually unappealing, that female masturbation is taboo, or that men should be expected to master and control women's orgasms. Etymology. The Oxford English Dictionary states that the word clitoris likely has its origin in the ancient Greek kappa lambda epsilon iota tau omicron rho, clitoris, perhaps derived from the verb kappa lambda epsilon epsilon iota nu, kalion, to shut. Clitoris is also Greek for the word key, indicating that the ancient anatomists considered it the key to female sexuality. In addition to key, the online etymology dictionary suggests other Greek candidates for the word's etymology include a noun meaning latch or hook, a verb meaning to touch or titillate lasciviously, to tickle. One German synonym for the clitoris is der Kitzler, the tickler, although this verb is more likely derived from clitoris, and a word meaning side of a hill, from the same root as climax. The Oxford English Dictionary also states that the shortened form clit, the first occurrence of which was noted in the United States, has been used in print since 1958. Until then, the common abbreviation was cliti. The plural forms are clitorises in English and clitorides in Latin. The Latin genitive is clitorides, as in glans clitorides. In medical and sexological literature, the clitoris is sometimes referred to as the female penis or pseudopenis, and the term clitoris is commonly used to refer to the glans alone. Partially because of this, there have been various terms for the organ that have historically confused its anatomy. See below. Structure. Development. In mammals, sexual differentiation is determined by the sperm that carries either an X or a Y, male, chromosome. The Y chromosome contains a sex-determining gene, SRY, that encodes a transcription factor for the protein TDF, testis-determining factor, and triggers the creation of testosterone and anti-Müllerian hormone for the embryo's development into a male. This differentiation begins about 8 or 9 weeks after conception. Some sources state that it continues until the 12th week, while others state that it is clearly evident by the 13th week and that the sex organs are fully developed by the 16th week. The clitoris develops from a phallic outgrowth in the embryo called the genital tubercle. Initially undifferentiated, the tubercle develops into either a clitoris or penis during development of the reproductive system depending on exposure to androgens, primarily male hormones. The clitoris forms from the same tissues that become the glans and upper shaft of the penis, and this shared embryonic origin makes these two organs homologous, different versions of the same structure. If exposed to testosterone, the genital tubercle elongates to form the penis. By fusion of the urogenital folds, elongated spindle-shaped structures that contribute to the formation of the urethral groove on the belly aspect of the genital tubercle, the urogenital sinus closes completely and forms the spongy urethra, and the labioscrotal swellings unite to form the scrotum. In the absence of testosterone, the genital tubercle allows for formation of the clitoris. The initially rapid growth of the phallus gradually slows and the clitoris is formed. The urogenital sinus persists as the vestibule of the vagina, the two urogenital folds form the labia minora, and the labioscrotal swellings enlarge to form the labia majora, completing the female genitalia. A rare condition that can develop from higher than average androgen exposure is cletoromegaly. General structure and histological evaluation. The clitoris is a complex structure, containing external and internal components. It consists of the glans, including the frenulum of clitoris, which is a frenulum on the undersurface of the glans and is created by the two medial parts of the labia minora, the clitoral body, which is composed of two erectile bodies known as the corpora cavernosa, two clitoral crura, the clitoral hood, formed by the labia minora, and the vestibular or clitoral bulbs. The clitoral body is commonly referred to as the shaft, or internal shaft, while the length of the clitoris between the glans and the body may also be referred to as the shaft, or external shaft, because, like the shaft as a whole, it supports the glans, and its shape can be seen and felt through the clitoral hood. Research indicates that clitoral tissue extends into the vagina's anterior wall. Inal et al. Said that the histological evaluation of the clitoris, especially of the corpora cavernosa, is incomplete because for many years the clitoris was considered a rudimentary and non-functional organ. They added that Baskin and colleagues examined the clitoris's masculinization after dissection and, using imaging software after mass and chrome staining, put the serial dissected specimens together. This revealed that the nerves of the clitoris surround the whole clitoral body, corpus. The clitoris, vestibular bulbs, labia minora, and urethra involve two histologically distinct types of vascular tissue, tissue related to blood vessels, the first of which is trabeculated, erectile tissue. The trabeculated tissue has a spongy appearance. Along with blood, it fills the large, dilated vascular spaces of the clitoris and the bulbs. Beneath the epithelium of the vascular areas is smooth muscle. It may also be that the urethral lumen, the inner open space or cavity of the urethra, which is surrounded by spongy tissue, has tissue that is grossly distinct from the vascular tissue of the clitoris and bulbs, and on macroscopic observation, is paler than the dark tissue of the clitoris and bulbs. The second type of vascular tissue is non-erectile. Although the clitoral body becomes engorged with blood upon sexual arousal, erecting the clitoral glands, some sources describe the clitoral glands and labia minora as composed of non-erectile tissue. This is especially the case for the glands. They state that the clitoral glands and labia minora have blood vessels that are dispersed within a fibrous matrix and have only a minimal amount of smooth muscle, or that the clitoral glands is a midline, densely neural, non-erectile structure. Other sources state that the glans is composed of erectile tissue and that erectile tissue is present within the labia minora, Adipose tissue is absent in the labia minora, but the organ may be described as being made up of dense connective tissue, erectile tissue, and elastic fibers. Yang et al. Are among the researchers who challenge the notion that the glans is not formed of erectile tissue, stating that their dissections clearly show glandular vascular spaces, although not as prominent as those in the clitoral body. The erectile tissue of the glans is slightly different from that of the body and crura. The vascular spaces are separated more by smooth muscle than in the body and crura, they concluded. They stated that there is a thick layer of tissue that supports the tissue between the epithelium and vascular spaces, and that there is a dense distribution of nerves and sensory receptors in the epithelium and supporting tissue. Glans and body. Highly innervated, the glans exists at the tip of the clitoral body as a fibrovascular cap, and is usually the size and shape of a pea, although it is sometimes much larger or smaller. While whether or not the glans is composed of erectile or non-erectile tissue is subject to debate, see above, it, or the entire clitoris, is estimated to have 8,000 or more sensory nerve endings. The clitoral body forms a wishbone-shaped structure containing the corpora cavernosa, a pair of sponge-like regions of erectile tissue which contain most of the blood in the clitoris during clitoral erection. The two corpora forming the clitoral body are surrounded by thick fibroelastic tunica albuginea, literally meaning white covering, connective tissue. These corpora are separated incompletely from each other in the midline by a fibrous pectiniform septum, a comb-like band of connective tissue extending between the corpora cavernosa. The clitoral body extends up to several centimeters before reversing direction and branching, resulting in an inverted V shape that extends as a pair of crura legs. The crura are the proximal portions of the arms of the wishbone. Ending at the glans of the clitoris, the tip of the body bends anteriorly away from the pubis. Each crus, singular form of crura, is attached to the corresponding ischial ramus extensions of the corpora beneath the descending pubic rami. Concealed behind the labia minora, the crura end with attachment at or just below the middle of the pubic arch. Associated are the urethral sponge, perineal sponge, a network of nerves and blood vessels, the suspensory ligament of the clitoris, muscles, and the pelvic floor. There is no identified correlation between the size of the clitoral glans, or clitoris as a whole, and a woman's age, height, weight, use of hormonal contraception, or being postmenopausal, although women who have given birth may have significantly larger clitoral measurements. Centimeter, cm, and millimeter, mm, measurements of the clitoris show variations in its size. The adult clitoral glans usually has a width less than 1 cm, with an average length of 1.5 to 2 cm. A 1992 study gives clitoral glans widths of 2.5 to 4.5 mm, 0.098 to 0.177 in, with the average size smaller than a pencil top eraser. The study concluded that the total clitoral length, including glans and body, is 16.0 plus or minus 4.3 mm, 0.63 plus or minus 0.17 in. Concerning other studies, researchers from the Elizabeth Garrett Anderson and Obstetric Hospital in London measured the labia and other genital structures of 50 women from the age of 18 to 50, with a mean age of 35.6, from 2003 to 2004, and the results given for the clitoral glans were 310 mm for the range and 5.5 mm for the mean. Other research indicates that the clitoral body can measure 5-7 cm, 2.0-2.8 in length, while the clitoral body and crura together can be 10 cm, 3.9 in, or more in length. Hood and bulbs. The clitoral hood projects at the front of the labia commissure, where the edges of the labia majora, outer lips, meet at the base of the pubic mound. It forms as part of the external folds of the labia minora, inner lips, and covers the glans and external shaft. There is considerable variation in how much of the glans protrudes from the hood and how much is covered by it, ranging from completely covered to fully exposed, and tissue of the labia minora also encircles the base of the glans. The vestibular bulbs are more closely related to the clitoris than the vestibule because of the similarity of the trabecular and erectile tissue within the clitoris and bulbs, and the absence of trabecular tissue in other genital organs, with the erectile tissue's trabecular nature allowing engorgement and expansion during sexual arousal. The vestibular bulbs lie close to the crura on either side of the vaginal opening. Internally, they are beneath the labia majora. When engorged with blood, they cuff the vaginal opening and cause the vulva to expand outward. Though some texts state that they surround the vaginal opening, this does not appear to be the case, and tunica albuginea does not envelop the erectile tissue of the bulbs. In Yang et al.'s assessment of the bulb's anatomy, they conclude that the bulbs arch over the distal urethra, outlining what might be appropriately called the bulbar urethra in women. Clitoral and penile similarities and differences. The clitoris and penis are generally the same anatomical structure, although the distal portion, or opening, of the urethra is absent in the clitoris of humans and most other animals. The idea that males have clitorises was suggested in 1987 by researcher Josephine Lowndes Savelli, who theorized that the male corpora cavernosa, a pair of sponge-like regions of erectile tissue which contain most of the blood in the penis during penile erection, are the true counterpart of the clitoris. She argued that the male clitoris is directly beneath the rim of the glans penis, where the frenulum of prepuce of the penis, a fold of the prepuce, is located, and proposed that this area be called the Lowndes crown. Her theory and proposal, though acknowledged in anatomical literature, did not materialize in anatomy books. Modern anatomical texts show that the clitoris displays a hood that is the equivalent of the penis's foreskin, which covers the glans. It also has a shaft that is attached to the glans. The male corpora cavernosa are homologous to the corpus cavernosum clitorides, the female cavernosa, the corpus spongiosum, is homologous to the vestibular bulbs beneath the labia minora, and the scrotum is homologous to the labia minora and labia majora. Upon anatomical study, the penis can be described as a clitoris that has been mostly pulled out of the body and grafted on top of a significantly smaller piece of spongiosum containing the urethra. With regard to nerve endings, the human clitoris is estimated 8,000 or more, for its glans or clitoral body as a whole, is commonly cited as being twice as many as the nerve endings found in the human penis, for its glans or body as a whole, and as more than any other part of the human body. These reports sometimes conflict with other sources on clitoral anatomy or those concerning the nerve endings in the human penis. For example, while some sources estimate that the human penis has 4,000 nerve endings, other sources state that the glans or the entire penile structure have the same amount of nerve endings as the clitoral glans, or discuss whether the uncircumcised penis has thousands more than the circumcised penis or is generally more sensitive. Some sources state that in contrast to the glans penis, the clitoral glans lacks smooth muscle within its fibrovascular cap and is thus differentiated from the erectile tissues of the clitoris and bulbs. Additionally, bulb size varies and may be dependent on age and estrogenization. Though the bulbs are considered the equivalent of the male spongiosum, they do not completely encircle the urethra. The thin corpus spongiosum of the penis runs along the underside of the penile shaft, enveloping the urethra, and expands at the end to form the glans. It partially contributes to erection, which are primarily caused by the two corpora cavernosa that comprise the bulk of the shaft. Like the female cavernosa, the male cavernosas soak up blood and become erect when sexually excited. The male corpora cavernosa taper off internally on reaching the spongiosum head. With regard to the Y shape of the cavernosa crown, body, and legs, the body accounts for much more of the structure in men, and the legs are stubbier. Typically, the cavernosa are longer and thicker in males than in females. Sexual stimulation, findings, and debates. General stimulation, practices, and arousal. The abundance of nerve endings in the clitoris, the majority of which exist specifically for sexual enjoyment, make it the human female's most sensitive erogenous zone and generally the primary anatomical source of human female sexual pleasure. Sexual stimulation of the clitoris can produce female sexual arousal and orgasm, and may be achieved by masturbation or with a sexual partner. The most effective sexual stimulation of the organ is usually through manual or oral stimulation, cunnilingus, often referred to as direct clitoral stimulation. In cases involving sexual penetration, these activities may also be referred to as additional or assisted clitoral stimulation. Direct clitoral stimulation involves physical stimulation to the external anatomy of the clitoris glands, hood, and the external shaft. Stimulation of the labia minora, inner lips, due to its external connection with the glands and hood, may have the same effect as direct clitoral stimulation. Though these areas may also receive indirect physical stimulation during sexual activity, such as when in friction with the labia majora, outer lips, indirect clitoral stimulation is more commonly attributed to penile vaginal penetration. Penile anal penetration may also indirectly stimulate the clitoris, either by the shared sensory nerves, especially the pudendal nerve, which gives off the inferior anal nerves and divides into two terminal branches, the perineal nerve and the dorsal nerve of the clitoris, or by the crura, legs. Due to the glands' high sensitivity, direct stimulation to it is not always pleasurable. Instead, direct stimulation to the hood or the areas near the glands are often more pleasurable, with the majority of females preferring to use the hood to stimulate the glands, or to have the glands rolled between the lips of the labia, for indirect touch. It is also common for women to enjoy a light caressing of the shaft of the clitoris combined with the occasional circling of the clitoral glands, with or without manual penetration of the vagina, while other women enjoy having the entire area of the vulva caressed. As opposed to use of dry fingers, stimulation from fingers that have been well lubricated, either by vaginal lubrication or a personal lubricant, is usually more pleasurable for the external anatomy of the clitoris. As the clitoris's external location does not allow for direct stimulation by sexual penetration, any external clitoral stimulation while in the missionary position usually results from the pubic bone area, the movement of the groins when in contact. As such, some couples may engage in the woman on top position or the coital alignment technique, a technique combining the riding high variation of the missionary position with pressure counter-pressure movements performed by each partner in rhythm with sexual penetration, to maximize clitoral stimulation. Lesbian couples may engage in tribadism for ample clitoral stimulation or for mutual clitoral stimulation during whole body contact. Pressing the penis or a dildo in a gliding or circular motion against the clitoris, intercrural sex, or stimulating it by movement against another body part, during any number of sex positions, may also be practiced. A vibrator, or specifically a clitoral vibrator, or other sex toys, may be used during or absent of any of the aforementioned practices. Other women stimulate the clitoris by use of a pillow or other inanimate object, by a jet of water from the faucet of a bathtub or shower, or by closing their legs and rocking. During sexual arousal, the clitoris and the whole of the genitalia engorge and change color as the erectile tissues fill with blood, vasocongestion, and the individual experiences vaginal contractions. The ischiocavenosus and bulbocavenosus muscles, which insert into the corpora cavernosa, contract and compress the dorsal vein of the clitoris, the only vein that drains the blood from the spaces in the corpora cavernosa, and the arterial blood continues a steady flow and, having no way to drain out, fills the venous spaces until they become turgid and engorged with blood. This is what leads to clitoral erection. The clitoral glands doubles in diameter upon arousal, and, upon further stimulation, it becomes less visible as it is covered by the swelling of tissues of the clitoral hood. The swelling protects the glands from direct contact, as direct contact at this stage can be more irritating than pleasurable. Vasocongestion eventually triggers a muscular reflex, which expels the blood that was trapped in surrounding tissues, and leads to an orgasm. A short time after stimulation has stopped, especially if orgasm has been achieved, the glans becomes visible again and returns to its normal state, with a few seconds, usually 5-10, to return to its normal position and 5-10 minutes to return to its original size. If orgasm is not achieved, the clitoris may remain engorged for a few hours, which women often find uncomfortable. Additionally, the clitoris is very sensitive after orgasm, making further stimulation initially painful for some women. Masters and Johnson documented the sexual response cycle, which has 4 phases and is still the clinically accepted definition of the human orgasm. Clitoral and vaginal orgasmic factors. Physical sexual stimulation of the clitoris is the most common way for women to achieve orgasm. General statistics indicate that 70–80% of women require direct clitoral stimulation, consistent manual, oral or other concentrated friction against the external parts of the clitoris, to reach orgasm, though indirect clitoral stimulation, for example, via vaginal penetration, may also be sufficient for female orgasm. The area near the entrance of the vagina, the lower third, contains nearly 90% of the vaginal nerve endings, and there are areas in the anterior vaginal wall and between the top junction of the labia minora and the urethra that are especially sensitive, but intense sexual pleasure, including orgasm, solely from vaginal stimulation is occasional or otherwise absent because the vagina has significantly fewer nerve endings than the clitoris. Prominent debate over the quantity of vaginal nerve endings began with Alfred Kinsey, although Sigmund Freud's theory that clitoral orgasms are a prepubertal or adolescent phenomenon and that vaginal, or G-spot, orgasms are something that only physically mature females experience had been criticized by few researchers before, Kinsey was the first researcher to harshly criticize the theory. Through his observations of female masturbation and interviews with thousands of women, Kinsey found that most of the women he observed and surveyed could not have vaginal orgasms, a finding that was also supported by his knowledge of sex organ anatomy. Scholar Janice M. Irvine stated that he criticized Freud and other theorists for projecting male constructs of sexuality onto women and viewed the clitoris as the main center of sexual response. He considered the vagina to be relatively unimportant for sexual satisfaction, relaying that few women inserted fingers or objects into their vaginas when they masturbated. Believing that vaginal orgasms are a physiological impossibility because the vagina has insufficient nerve endings for sexual pleasure or climax, he concluded that satisfaction from penile penetration mainly psychological or perhaps the result of referred sensation. Masters and Johnson's research, as well as Sheer Heights, generally supported Kinsey's findings about the female orgasm. Masters and Johnson were the first researchers to determine that the clitoral structures surround and extend along and within the labia. They observed that both clitoral and vaginal orgasms have the same stages of physical response, and found that the majority of their subjects could only achieve clitoral orgasms, while a minority achieved vaginal orgasms. On that basis, they argued that clitoral stimulation is the source of both kinds of orgasms, reasoning that the clitoris is stimulated during penetration by friction against its hood. The research came at the time of the second-wave feminist movement, which inspired feminists to reject the distinction made between clitoral and vaginal orgasms. Feminist Ann Code argued that because men have orgasms essentially by friction with the vagina and not the clitoral area, this is why women's biology had not been properly analyzed. Today, with extensive knowledge of anatomy, with Kinsey, and Masters and Johnson, to mention just a few sources, there is no ignorance on the subject, she stated in her 1970 article The Myth of the Vaginal Orgasm. She added, there are, however, social reasons why this knowledge has not been popularized. We are living in a male society which has not sought change in women's role. Supporting an anatomical relationship between the clitoris and vagina is a study published in 2005, which investigated the size of the clitoris. Australian urologist Helen O'Connell, described as having initiated discourse among mainstream medical professionals to refocus on and redefine the clitoris, noted a direct relationship between the legs or roots of the clitoris and the erectile tissue of the clitoral bulbs and corpora, and the distal urethra and vagina while using magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, technology. While some studies, using ultrasound, have found physiological evidence of the G-spot in women who report having orgasms during vaginal intercourse, O'Connell argues that this interconnected relationship is the physiological explanation for the conjectured G-spot and experience of vaginal orgasms, taking into account the stimulation of the internal parts of the clitoris during vaginal penetration. The vaginal wall is, in fact, the clitoris, she said. If you lift the skin off the vagina on the side walls, you get the bulbs of the clitoris triangular, crescental masses of erectile tissue. O'Connell et al., having performed dissections on the female genitals of cadavers and used photography to map the structure of nerves in the clitoris, made the assertion in 1998 that there is more erectile tissue associated with the clitoris than is generally described in anatomical textbooks, and were thus already aware that the clitoris is more than just its glands. They concluded that some females have more extensive clitoral tissues and nerves than others, especially having observed this in young cadavers compared to elderly ones, and therefore whereas the majority of females can only achieve orgasm by direct stimulation of the external parts of the clitoris, the stimulation of the more generalized tissues of the clitoris via vaginal intercourse may be sufficient for others. French researchers Odile Buisson and Pierre Folds reported similar findings to that of O'Connell's. In 2008, they published the first complete 3D sonography of the stimulated clitoris, and republished it in 2009 with new research, demonstrating the ways in which erectile tissue of the clitoris engorges and surrounds the vagina. On the basis of their findings, they argued that women may be able to achieve vaginal orgasm via stimulation of the G-spot, because the highly innervated clitoris is pulled closely to the anterior wall of the vagina when the woman is sexually aroused and during vaginal penetration. They assert that since the front wall of the vagina is inextricably linked with the internal parts of the clitoris, stimulating the vagina without activating the clitoris may be next to impossible. In their 2009 published study, the coronal planes during perineal contraction and finger penetration demonstrated a close relationship between the root of the clitoris and the anterior vaginal wall. Buisson and Folds suggested that the special sensitivity of the lower anterior vaginal wall could be explained by pressure and movement of clitoris's root during a vaginal penetration and subsequent perineal contraction. Researcher Vincenzo Pupo, who, while agreeing that the clitoris is the center of female sexual pleasure and believing that there is no anatomical evidence of the vaginal orgasm, disagrees with O'Connell and other researchers' terminological and anatomical descriptions of the clitoris, such as referring to the vestibular bulbs as the clitoral bulbs, and states that the inner clitoris does not exist because the penis cannot come in contact with the congregation of multiple nerves/veins. Please subscribe and thanks for watching.